Now I then go back to the question which I posed before. So which factor is the most important now? And you might probably understand that this is the wrong question. We cannot ask this question. If you receive this question like this, which factor is the most important? So this is, the wrong question, because I just demonstrated that implant design is important, platinum switching is important, soft tissue thickness is important, because I always say that implant features do not function in vacuum. They function in environment, in biological environment. So you cannot just say and state that, let's say, conical connection is better than internal connection because it's more stable. It's true just in words, because I can give you a ton of examples depending on the tissue thickness that you can have a perfect bone stability with implants without platinum switching, with no conical connection. So this is why it's important. Important is to understand that we must really know how factors relate to each other. How do they work with each other? That's the essence, actually, of zero bone loss concepts, to understand how factors work. And to really emphasize this, I use this image of basket of apples. So our goal is, of course, to have to not have bone loss, to have zero bone loss around implants. And our factors which are responsible for crestal bone stability is an basket full of apples. Each apple represents separate factor. So what we do in research, what we did in research, which I showed you before, we took apple out of the basket and research it. So we must look at it, isolate it. It means that we must take out other factors, isolate them, because they work as confounding factors. And then you cannot make reliable results. For example, as I said, if you are, let's say, researching tissue thickness and you are placing implant with polished neck in the bone, then doesn't matter how thick tissues are, because you're going to lose bone because of polished color. That's why you need isolation of other factors. But then, when the research is finished, and you say we decided if this apple, let's say, important or not, if it's tissue thickness, then we are putting apple back to the basket, because then how these factors work together. That's why it's important, multifactorial. Now the problem here is actually not the problem, but the challenge is that there are, so many factors. Let's say in my book we have 20 chapters of the book, 20 factors. And people tend to give up the idea that bone stability, that zero bone loss is possible, because there are so many factors. But actually, if each of them is controllable, each of them we can really control. And I really think that zero bone loss concepts is really doable. So some take-home key important messages from this first part of our course is that vertical soft tissue thickness is a separate measurement. Majority of papers are still not talking about this factor. And if I would ask you a question, let's say you made a surgery today on your implant, did you measure vertical soft tissue thickness? And if not, you are not going to have bone stability. And more important, if you will have bone loss, you won't be able to explain why.